Hello guys, it's Connor here. You're very welcome back to Autism and Me. If you're new to the channel, you are very welcome. We are now on episode 7 of Autism and Me. Now, before I start, I want to say a big, massive thank you to everyone who has supported the video so far, from liking, sharing, commenting. It really does mean the world, guys. So thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean the world. So yeah, we're on episode 7 as I said, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience of being an actor on the spectrum. Now, for those of you who don't know, I did my degree in performing arts in IT Sligo, which I did from 2015 till 2019. But I've always loved drama. I've always been interested in it from a young age. I've always been interested in seeing plays, doing plays, etc., watching plays, how they conduct themselves. It really has always, it has always been something that has fascinated me through life, from a very young age. And I'm mainly going to dwell into my Sligo days because that's where I learned pretty much most of my craft. That's where I learned probably the most from acting. From all my various previous experience with acting, previous basically courses as well. So yeah, so just with my acting background. So I did Helen O'Grady, which is speech and drama, back in 2006, and I did this up until 2010. This was really good fun. So it was really different as well when you were younger to do something like speech and drama, because you were doing kind of these kind of silly exercises, and it was cool because you were kind of doing these silly exercises, but like normally you'd feel stupid doing them, but like everyone else was doing the exact same thing, so it doesn't really matter if you felt stupid, because you felt stupid then. Everyone's looking stupid then, that's what I'm trying to say. Everyone then, if you feel stupid, don't worry, everyone's doing the exact same thing, so everyone looks stupid together. So like that was kind of cool for me when I was younger, so it kind of took that self-consciousness thing away as well, to normal success. So you kind of just felt like you were doing things that are unorthodox, but it was good to be unorthodox. That makes sense. Like that's the one thing I loved. So that was really good fun. And we always did big ensembles throughout the courses. And then we actually performed in Armagh actually. A couple of times actually in the marketplace theatre there, was a really nice space, actually really good setup there. I hope we get back there soon actually, because it's a really good setup. And then after that I went on to a Monaghan Youth Theatre. I did this from 2011 to 2014. So yeah, I would have done different plays basically throughout my time there. So I did, doing It Only Ever Happens in the Movies, which is a really good comedy play. And the most famous play I did in the youth theatre was The Crucible by Arthur Miller. For those who don't know, he also wrote Death of a Salesman, which I did a review of that on my channel. So yeah, those are the good plays I did, and you really dwelled as well, learning like a new kinds of theatre as well each time. And my instructor there, she was brilliant. She really helped us excel in those plays, like especially because it was a big challenge for us, because none of us were ever really a serious play like The Crucible before. We were always kind of used to doing something fun, sort of way, because it only ever happens in the movies. It's a real good comedy, sketchy, fun play to do, and the Crucible is the complete opposite. Like that's the thing. It's a very serious play. Witch huntings, murders going on. So like they're worlds apart, really. They are worlds apart. The two plays. So it was really challenging, like at a younger age, to play like a real kind of serious play, and knowing that there's big stuff going on in the play, very big consequences for the characters. So yeah, So yeah, moving on now to where I learned most of my craft. IT Sligo. So I started my course there, everyone doesn't know, in 2015. I finished there back in 2019. Yeah, so actually I wrote some notes down here just because just to give pointers as well. So I tried to like pick stories, the best stories like through each time in Sligo, like which stories I felt would have been good for this particular video. So yeah, so I thought when I went to Sligo, I thought, okay, why not? Do acting. It's cool. I've done it for years. It's gonna be awesome. And man, I was in for a rude awakening in when we did the modules, because there's so much to acting that you would not think. That's the thing. There are so much more to acting than just, what I used to do, where you just read your lines, and then throw a script away. There's actually so much more to that. Like, because during this even the first year, we really thought about our characters. I think that's my first year in college. I think that was the first time that I ever really thought about a character, like what makes this character tick? What is this character's background? What is their relationships with the other characters? Like, would you like to be this character in real life? Would you like to spend a day in your life of your character? And like, there's so much more to that. So much to dwell into, really. Like, and really knowing the play as well. Like, really knowing the backgrounds of the play as well. So yeah, I just wrote a few notes down here. Like, just even like learning as well to bounce off your character as well. Like, if you're doing a scene with a different person, like with their character, what's their character like? What's their background? Are they friends with the character? Are they enemies of the character? Like, there's so much more to it than what you might think. And excuse me, like even the thought process as well. Another thing too, actually. For example, we did this exercise one time where we did the okay, we'd say a line, and then another person would give their thought. Like, and it could be for like anything. It could be a very simple thing, really. It could be like simple thing like, like, oh, what are you doing at lunchtime? And you have to give your thought. You have to say what you think your character would be thinking in their head, that they're not saying out loud. That's the sort of thing. And one thing I also thought as well, like, really think of the lines as well. Actually, one tip I got is that you should always keep reading the script and the scenes as well you're in, because you might interpret your scene differently. Remember the first play, duologue, I did actually in first year. Yeah, first year. Sorry, I remember. I did so many. So the first one I did in first year, the duologue I did, it was a play called Joyriders. I did that with with a friend of mine, David. Shout out to you, David. So we were doing Joyriders. So, and I remember actually before we did showcased it, basically we showcased it. We always had an audience come in to watch us. Before I showcased, sorry, before we showcased this. I actually read the few pages before our scene to see if I learned anything new, and voila, I actually learned a good bit, because my scene, one of my first lines is, I believe, was actually, "Hey Kate, there's no tea nor coffee in the kitchen," and my character goes, no, David's character goes to my character, "Not now, offer," and my thought process is, why? What's the big deal? And then Kate, my other good friend Neve's character, she storms off, and what's not seen on stage is that my character, like, said hello to another character, like in a scene that we didn't do, like in the play, but her character kind of gave my character a bad reaction, and so my character's line was, what did I say? And that was actually the same thing that happened after after Kate Neve's character stormed off. My line was like, what I say? What's wrong with everyone today? Because that's two people that have given me the character as Arthur, bad kind of responses. And my whole mindset was like, what's going on today? Like I only said there was no tea nor coffee. Like, so something simple like that needs to really be looked on how you can make that seem better. And I think because I looked back and did my homework, I did it. I did it, and I was finally able to focus my energy into all of the into that scene and make it better. I think me, David, and Neve made that scene a lot better because we all did our homework on that side of things. So yeah, coming up into second year, we were doing different modules, like, so we started directing, and yeah, we continue on with acting as well. So yeah, we also kind of did many kind of plays within other modules too. So yeah, so I remember I was thinking what second year acting, like one of the modules would be. I thought my mindset, I thought would be playing characters, for example, that would be different to us. Like, I thought we wouldn't be playing someone opposite, because I enjoyed playing my last character in the duologue, but I kind of felt like I was that character of my group, sort of thing. Yeah, like I felt like as well David was his character of that scene, and Neve was her character of that group. I think we all kind of got to play characters that were in us. Like, if that was real life, you'd say, oh, that's Connor, that's David, that's Neve. That's the way I'd see it. So yeah, whenever I remember we got one good play. We got one. Well, we got many good plays. Sorry, we got many good plays. We got to play Look Back in Anger. Like, and I really want to play this Jimmy person because I felt it would be better for me to have played him, because I used to try to challenge myself and see how can I do with a different character. Like, how can I go with someone who's very different to me, compared to someone in first year that was quite similar to me. And I remember being quite disappointed that when I had to kind of accept that I was going to play a kind of the same kind of character, who I was the me of that group, and I kind of feel like that this is 2 years in a row where I've just played the me of that group, and that was quite it was quite upsetting for me, actually, because I was really hoping to play someone different, and that can be very, very, like, upsetting, because you could get your hopes up, and you're kind of hoping for the change, you don't get it. Like, it can be very hard to deal with. Like, that's the thing, it can be very, very tough to deal with. See, but listen, let's look at my notes here. Sorry, but you see, you're always going to be challenged, and I remember having such anxiety, actually, even playing with this character, because I was kind of learning different things with this character. Like, this character, like, for example, his name was Cliff, and he had a Welsh accent. I remember being very kind of conscious at first doing the accent, because I want to kind of make it real, sort of thing, try to make it as, like, believable as possible. Like, I remember being quite worried, like, so, like, so that's one thing that can play, going back to the anxiety thing, that's something that can play like, in your mind. Now, I'm not sure how it was to my classmates, how nervous I was, but I did feel nervous, like, trying to perform sometimes, because, well, like, if they laugh at me, like, are they laughing for the right reasons? So, like, all these things kind of go through your head. How am I coming across to my classmates? You're always trying to impress people. When you're an actor, you always want to try and be the person that kind of stands out from the crowd. Every actor likes to stand out from the crowd, but, like, listen, it's always a team effort, though. It's always team effort. Like, like, you need bouncing off each other is important. Like, and you always have to try and make each other as strong as possible. But listen, you're only as good as the person beside you as well. Because another challenge as well was that I had to learn to work with new people. I think everyone pretty much was thrown into a new group of people that they hadn't worked with before in the first year. So last year I was with two of my good friends. In second year, I was with people that I spoke with a little bit, but I wouldn't have been, like, overly close. If that makes sense. That just happens, really. Like, and I get on with them. Like, it's just that we just didn't talk as much, sort of thing. So yeah, we had to learn new habits. We had to learn to bounce off each other. How your person works. How do you still work the same? Are you different? So, like, it was quite a different challenge, but like strangely enough, actually, I actually felt comfortable. Actually, I remember actually thinking to myself, actually, we were never in there as long. Actually, our group was never in as long as other groups. I remember that, and that was actually quite comforting for me actually because I was thinking to myself, everyone else seems to be in for ages, but we just kind of sort of get in, we take our notes, like we have a talk, but I like to think that we were quite. The reason for that was because we were doing what the lecturer wanted. We had a good. She could see that there was a good understanding, even though we may not have been overly close, but we just knew how to work well with each other. Like sometimes the most unlikely combinations are the best. I remember even the second night, which is one of my favorite performances because we just everything clicked for our group that day, and I remember like even before, but when the scene started, I remember in my head I was thinking to myself, there was a moment, there was like a light bulb went off. It was like I remember thinking to myself, now we're all on the same wavelength. I was like, and I could trust these people because trust is a huge thing in acting, especially if you're doing ensembles, duologues, etc. You really need to rely on the people beside you because you're only as good as the people beside you. Like you need to really learn how to bounce off each other and really get the best out of each other. Communication is a huge thing as well, and I know with people sometimes on the autism spectrum they can struggle with communication, and and not just the normal verbal thing. It's like what someone said and everything. So it can be um, nerve wracking too. But yeah, thankfully I was able to challenge my energy as well. One thing with some actors on the autism spectrum, they tend to be able to especially whether reacting or anything, they seem to be able to. Sometimes we're able to just challenge our energy into certain things. We will stick to it. And that's a good thing. I feel we just say we're able to basically just focus on that one thing. I remember even reading an article about that. Someone saying that like some people actors on the autism spectrum, they're just able to focus all their energy into one thing, and they're able to get the best out of it, and they're totally fixated on it. That's the thing. You can't get fairly fixated on getting the best, out of yourself, which you need to do in acting. So yeah, that was my second year. So yeah, I'm going to kind of do a third year story now. Actually, we did this module called live art, and we all were able to choose our different sort of projects for it. So my project was I did the effects of social isolation. I did this because I think it was something that's not really been talked about at all. Really, I thought it would be good to do something different, So for my performance, basically, I think I think I titled it something like I'm in my room eating pot noodles every night. It's kind of like that person you see out and about, and they're happy go lucky, they're talking to everyone. You think, oh, they're really sad, but they're actually at home in their room all evening, because that's a lot of things. How many times, even with depression or something, how often is it the person you think is happy, but it's actually they're the one suffering the most, or even how many times you see the person with 100,000 followers on Instagram, but they're probably at home in their room. That's the thing, because social isolation is not the most talked thing. I remember for my piece, I recorded voice notes, real kind of oh, there's no point you even trying because they're not going to want to talk to you. Unfortunately, if I find them at a later date, I will post them in the link at a later date. But I shall keep an eye out for them in the future. Maybe Crystal has them. I don't know. They might be on my old PC. I'll have a look if it's on my old PC. But yeah. Now my live art project, I had to really delve into what things would make me sad before that performance. And you can use anything. You have to think what's going to make me upset. And one thing that I actually used is this might come across as a surprise. I used Joe Canning's winning point from the 2017 All Ireland hurling semi-final between Tip and Galway. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm a massive Tipperary hurling fan, and When I used the logic to get myself sad, it's like Joe Canning hits that shot, and like I think it was about 3 to 2 seconds of normal time left, and the ball goes over the bars, time's up, and that's kind of the mindset I got myself into, like to get me down, like like that heartbreak that as the ball goes over the bar, the time is up, and that I used that to really get me down. I kept playing that over and over my head just to get me to make that would, because I knew it would get me sad. Like it would really get me real down and upset. Because you have to use these things. Yeah, you have to use these things. You have to think what gets me, the actor, into that place. Like what gets me, makes me tick. What makes me to get upset? What's my method to get me sad? So yeah, so and that's one thing that people don't maybe understand. Like the efforts the place you have to go to get a scene right take an awful lot out of you. They really do. Like this performance went really well. I got so much good feedback from it, but the places I had to go to get the message across was really, really upsetting. The amount of energy that I put in, but the massive toll it had on me um, was a lot. Like I remember the next few days after that, and I was very upset. I was really, really, really upset. Like I was so sad after that. For those next few days, like it kind of brought me back to a time where I felt isolated, socially isolated. It really brought me back to those dark days. So that's why it really hit me. It didn't hit me on the night, but over the next couple of days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the weekend, like I was just down. I was just shattered. Like I was really doing it, like doing not well. That's the thing. I was really, really not well. Honestly, I was really down. I remember being so sad. Honestly, I was never more happy to get out of Sligo that day. It was just so. Sorry, I get emotional talking about it, but that just shows you like the places you have to go, and the energy as well. The energy that you have to give to get that scene right, and the places you have to go. Like they do take a lot out, and you don't see that with actors. Like you don't see the toll or the effort they've gone through to get to that place. Like that's a lot of stuff that's seen away from the stage. That's the thing. That's the thing. It doesn't just turn on like a tap. There's a lot of things that you have to do to get that scene perfect. I'm telling you now, those big scenes that you've seen in films, TV shows that struck a chord with you, I'm telling you now, that actor has gone to hell and back to get that scene perfect. I just, as well, I'm going to talk about now my Hungary experience. So yeah, when I was doing the report card, I was kind of disappointed with the feedback I got, because I was kind of being told I'm happy to let other people shine, but one of my biggest problems I feel is that I express myself for someone on the spectrum can be quite difficult. You're quite be outgoing, but you don't know how to express yourself. Sorry, in the right way. How exactly do you express yourself? How do you go about expressing yourself? And I have a load of things going through my mind, saying, "Will I go now? Will I wait? Will I wait till season's about? And then will I talk? Is it the right time?" That's one thing that got me throughout my time in Sligo, especially third year in Hungary, because I was wondering what to do. Instead of just maybe I should just gone for it. That's the thing. Instead of just being oh, I'll wait and see. Maybe I should have said, okay, I'll take a chance, and if it fails, it fails. I was just maybe I was afraid of failure. I'm not sure exactly, but I just felt very scared to go things and the anxiety again. That's what I mean. There's a lot of anxiety with that as well. So yeah, it can be quite tough as well. And then with different directors then as well, it can be quite worrying because you don't know what they're thinking. You kind of sometimes hold back because you don't know what's the best way to do it. Should I give my all? Will I get this? Will I get this part? I remember having that in my last production as well, actually. Will I lose a line? Even though everyone lost lines eventually, I was remember being very fearful because I think I had lost them at first, so that kind of put me off. But I managed to keep it going, and you gotta keep going, learn to try. Like, don't be afraid to try things as an actor. To all my actor friends out there, just try things, just go for it. And I think it can be an advantage. I remember reading an article that it can be an advantage being an actor on the spectrum because we can be focused on things. We can focus our energy into one specific thing. And it helps as well as remembering lines. I'm very good. I have this weird. I don't know why I have it, but if you give me a script, I can learn it off like that, and I know it's just reading it back over it again. So yeah, you keep going and and be comfortable in deconstructing yourself, because I don't think you have to do as an actor. You have to deconstruct yourself at times. I remember talking with Jodie O'Neill, who did the "What I Don't Know About Autism" play, which I referenced in the first um, video. She was saying she didn't know how to express herself because she's actually on the spectrum herself. So she was unaware of how to express herself when she was in college. So yeah, I can totally relate to that as well. I sometimes don't know how to express myself the best way at times. So yeah, but I'll keep going. Yeah, I've done a bit of the extras ad actually before before, like, you know, everything shut down. The Sky Sports GA ad, that was great. Like, you know, as well. It was fantastic. You know, they did GA ad, Sky Sports GA ad for last year. It'll probably be used this year actually again. But yeah, being actor on the spectrum, like, you know, I think, you know, it has its advantages. You know, it has disadvantages, but then there's advantages, disadvantages in acting. Like, no one's a perfect actor. That's the thing. You know, everyone, like, you know, has their strong points, they have their weak points, etc. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I shall see you soon. Goodbye.